Alright, hello. About as good a spot as any to get started. Since OBS has crashed on me once, we may as well go ahead and just try to get this done. Hello! Even my transition's kind of acting up. So, tonight, I just decided to do something random, and this isn't even a normal streaming time that I'd like to do. But I wanted to work on a Tabletop Simulator mod, and figured something simple that I've had the scans for already is Bluey Candy Land. My son just got that recently, and I thought it'd be fun to put together because nobody appears to have done it yet, and thought I would show some insight into my process. So as long as OBS holds up, we'll see what we can do. So I'm just doing a monitor capture. We're just going to minimize that. Oh, it looks like Tabletop Simulator crashed on me. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. We don't really need it up right now. So, yeah, I usually start with scans. And in this case, I've got all the Bluey scans done already. I've done the hard part. And I've taken the scans of the board. And I've already stitched them together. So the board is done. You may not look it from that, but I might try to clean up that edge a little bit with a crop. But we'll worry about that in a minute. But this is the board. Stitched together pretty well. Not 100% perfect, but nothing ever is. So we're going to go with that. What I usually like to start with when it comes to these scans, I'm going to move this over here. I usually like to start with the tokens and standees, get them prepared. And in this case, we've got the standees for the characters and the magic xylophone token. So first thing I'm gonna do here, why can't I transform this image? There we go. Let's straighten it up that way. And let's start with my personal spirit animal. Let's start with good old Bandit. Actually, the first thing I'm gonna do, I scan these at 600 DPI, and then I reduce them down to 200 to try and get the most detail possible. Because reducing from a high DPI maintains more detail that way. So we'll start with that. So that's at 33% zoom right there. So yeah, it's still going to look fantastic. Oh yeah, look at our guy there. So preparing the standees for what I usually do is easy enough. I just crop it out. There's our boy. Just save him real quick. We'll make a folder for the mod assets. We'll make a folder for standees. Bandit. I usually do about 10 quality because that reduces the file size really nicely, but still maintains plenty of detail. Because full-on maximum 12 quality almost triples the file size, and frankly that isn't really necessary. I mean, it's Tabletop Simulator. It's not a big deal. So now we will revert back to the original. I don't want to do this every time, so let me save it here. There, that way it'll revert back to this already reduced, properly rotated state. Oh, may as well just continue with Mom of the Year, Chili. Now you'll notice I've got these scanned from the side that doesn't have the cut in them so that the edge is as flat as possible. That just makes it a little easier to work with when I start making the standees. I want crop. There we go. So yeah, this step usually takes no time at all. And for a game like this, it really isn't any time at all. So now, of course, we got to get our girl. The name of the game, Bluey. Won't bother zooming her into the middle. You guys get it by now. Bluey. Yeah, less than 100K for that image. That's going to load really fast. I mean, anybody with a halfway decent connection is going to be fine, regardless, but these are for the people that play Tabletop Simulator on a slower connection, because they exist. I used to be one. So, now let's get Bingo, my son's personal favorite. And I'm not trying to crop it exactly at the cut point of the standee. You can also see some stuff that my scanner picked up that really not a bit. Actually, you know what? I can fix that. I can fix that. Let's fix that. Because why not? We just need the stamp tool. Yeah, that cleaned it up nicely. Yeah, sometimes I'll do little edits like that. Save a copy. I always save a copy because otherwise it won't allow you to choose JPEG. So if you're new to Photoshop, that's something to keep in mind, is if you want to save out as JPEG, PNG, all the standard image types, you're going to want to save it as a copy. If you just try to save something new outright, it's going to try and save it as a Photoshop related file. Oh wait, why did I write Bandit? Bingo. There we go. Bingo may be my son's favorite, but Muffin is his personality. So, the shortcut I'm using to save as a copy is Control-Alt-S. Very useful shortcut when you do stuff like this. The reason I'm putting all the standees in their own folder is because that will just be a little easier when I put the files online. Organization helps a lot. Crop. Plus when I actually make the 3D models for the standees, which hopefully we'll get to tonight, this folder will also be where I save those. So since that's going to double the number of files in use, it's just helpful to put them in their own folder. Okay, so that is all the standees. Now we've got the magic xylophone, which, since this one has a bit of a white padding to it, let's go ahead and try and get as much of that as possible. That looks good. And this is just a token. I feel like I spelled xylophone wrong. I'm gonna come to my other mod. Thought I was. I'm gonna bring a window over here, minimize you back. Oh, I spelled it right. Okay, cool. So we'll save the xylophone mallet. Maybe. Top decided to freeze up. I need a new computer so badly. I'm surprised I can make these things sometimes. I've got a ton of RAM, a halfway decent processor, a halfway decent video card, but it's just... they're old. And honestly, my hard drive is ridiculously old as well. But I've been Frankensteining parts together for years now. I think if I could just get something with a good motherboard and processor, it would prevent stuff like this. Will you save, please? You have officially crashed. Yeah, everything else is... okay. Alright. I see how it is. I see how it is. I'm gonna have to kill this process. It's just frozen. And OBS is using most of my processor right now. Photoshop's not far behind it though. Alright, let's try that again. Enjoy my desktop. Nothing on here I really have to worry about. It is apparently taking all of my CPU to try and stream this. I think I found my bottleneck. All right. Are we good, Photoshop? Yep, you look like you're responding. Okay. The rest of my computer isn't. There we go. Okay, let's try this again, shall we? Crop. Xylophone mallet. Hey, alright. There we go. Put it back. Magic xylophone. Okay. The nice thing there is that is the only 2 tokens that we'll have to do. So I'm officially done working with that image. Now we've got cards. Here's how I'm going to do this. I scanned this one specifically with some dead area in mind. And I decided I'm going to manually put these cards together because there's only a handful. 23 individual different cards, so I mean that's not terrible. There's my crop tool. They move stuff around on me all the time. That looks about right. And there is all the more we need to do for the card. Of course, cards get their own folder. Nope, I forgot to reduce the DPI. Let us try that again. Okay, now here's the fun part. Now that we have one properly sized card, I'm just going to drag in one of my other scans that I did all the cards together with. Set it to 100% size. And we're just going to drag this around until cards look right. So let's zoom that in a bit. Okay. This one, I'm not going to be doing fancy file names for this because I won't be using individual file names for this, and you'll see why soon. They all have that serial number there? Or did I just not notice that? Scanning. Okay, well let's clean that up then. Rasterize it. So just lightly painting from a little bit above. Just giving it a click every time just to kind of splotch it on. Perfect. Like little edits like that are not too bad to do. The nice thing about doing things this way, it ensures that all the cards are the same size. I have a batch method for when I scan cards individually, but because this one only had a handful of individual cards, I decided to just scan them in groups. Because, I mean, 5 cards in, and that really didn't take long. You can actually delete that layer. Pull in this one here. Now, one little trick I like to use is turning on the lock between these dimensions. Because then, if you put 100 on one side, it's going to do it on the other and keep everything the right size. It's very helpful. Oh, there's that serial number again. Now, the nice thing about dragging these scans in the way that I did, it automatically resizes them to 200 DPI. And we're just gonna come down here. Yes, yes, yes. No, it's not going to be a smart object. Don't need it to be a smart object. I need it to be paintable. All right. Dance mode. Now you'll notice that I'm not cleaning up some edges on the bottom and top. That's really not a big deal because when these get imported into Tabletop Simulator, some of it's going to be cut anyway. Not a whole lot, but enough to where that's either not going to be visible or it'll be just barely visible, and frankly I'm okay with that. This is just a simple little thing to put together. I'm not worried about accuracy and perfection for this particular mod. And that being said, I have gone neurotic with other mods I've put together to where I will do a ton of editing to a card just to make it look just right. I mean, you guys are seeing how I'm taking out those serial numbers off the cards to make them look consistent. You're still a JPEG. I don't know why I did that. Okay. We're almost done. Yeah, that's 11. There are only 5 cards in the first set. Okay. Well, we'll just bring this next one in. Now this one's going to be easy enough. Just the colors. I'm going to delete this layer to free up some memory because Photoshop and OBS are not playing nice today. Yeah, this is just one way to put cards together. I may pull up my batch method and show how I do that. Oh, I wiped my computer recently. My action isn't saved in here. Oh no. Well, might put my batch method together. Oh, not only is this one a little crooked, it has that serial number. I think 1 degree. Yeah, that straightened it up nicely. Center it a bit more, and this one should be fairly easy to clean up. It's just white. I'm not worried about streaking details or anything like that. Okay, now I'm going to rotate that back. Nope, we're going to do another rotation here. That -1. Yeah. There we go. Center that a little bit. Now, this just happens to be a really easy game to work with. Yep, we're going to rotate that back. Now, this card here might end up being kind of difficult to work with in Tabletop Simulator, because that means I'm going to have to change some lighting around to make sure this yellow can actually be seen. We'll mess with that once we get that far. Alright, 6 more cards to go. And from what I can see, there's no serial number on these ones. It's interesting that they do that. And this is copyrighted material, I do understand that, so I may not end up making this mod publicly available. Done that quite a few times with other games, though. Games that shouldn't be problematic, stuff you can't find anymore, or stuff that's more of like a try before you buy kind of setup. Now when I'm dragging these back and forth, I'm holding the shift key to make sure that they drag on a single axis, to make sure that they line up just right. They're almost done. 20 was the last. Yeah, the normal way that I do cards, I will scan each card individually, which sounds as tedious as it, or is as tedious as it sounds, excuse me while I screw up the colloquialism. Yeah, I'll scan each card individually. I will take the back graphic of the card, and I will usually use that one to record a crop and a resize down to 200 dpi. Then the action that I use saves a copy into a folder I specify, and then I'll just come up to here to File, Automate Batch, choose the action that I recorded with cropping, resizing, and saving. The last step is also closing the file. The action recorder will record that step. That's important, or else you're going to have a million files open at once. But you just come in Batch, choose the action up here, which I don't have it re-recorded yet, but choose the action, choose the folder you're pulling from, then you'll do folder destination, choose the folder you're going to save to and how you want the extension to look, and then just hit OK to run it. And that will, as long as all your scans are scanned in the exact same position, crop everything the same way, resize it, save them out into properly sized cards. And that works really great for games that have a lot of individual cards, like 200 plus especially. I've done a few projects like that recently. I'm insane, I swear. Well, let's see, what else do we need to do for this in preparation? Oh, there is the scan of the rulebook. Now this one's interesting. Now, if this was available online in digital format, I would usually just download that and use it, because a lot of game companies will put an online PDF of their instructions, and that just makes it that much easier. But in this case, we did not have an online option. I'm just going to drop this. That marquee looks fine. Yep. And of course we're going to save a copy. I'm actually not going to put this into the mod folder because it's not ready for the mod yet. We're going to put it into its own folder. And we're actually going to put the original file back on top. Use this properly cropped window to position our next page. Now this is the back, so if that other part is page 1, this one's going to be page 4. Now, another thing that I use frequently when making mods is the replace contents option. If you have a smart object, which most of the time when you drag something in, it'll create it as a smart object, you can just do replace contents and then find and choose your new file. Boom. Plops it in there for you. Oop, I just accidentally, there we go. Accidentally set the opacity wrong there. That was fun. Okay. I'll just kind of center this a little, make it look good. That is going to be page 2. And then page 3. Now, here's a little bit of magic. When you have individual pages for like a rule book or something that you want to use as a rule book or any kind of book in Tabletop Simulator, you can come down to File, Automate, PDF Presentation, browse for your page files, make sure they're in the right order, multi-page document. I've never really messed with any of this stuff otherwise because they're images. It just works. Save. And then we will go to our Bluey mod folder. And rulebooks I don't put in their own folder because it's usually a single file. So we'll just name this Rules Bluey Candy Land. And honestly, I don't normally mess with any of these settings either. From what I've found, everything works just fine. Save PDF. I'll take those pages. It'll make a PDF file. Fortunately, it opened in Edge, but here we have proper rulebook PDF. And that's only if you need to scan your PDF pages, because, like I said, most of the time, companies will put their rulebooks digitally out online. And it's just easy enough to get them that way. Now, let's see, what else? Is there anything else we need to prepare for this mod? I'm going to close my file window. Nope, looking at my files, that looks good. I might sneeze here in a second. I'm going to mute the mic. I'm waiting for it to hit, and it seems to be passing. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Alright, so all our files are prepared. So now, think I'm okay to close the task manager. Photoshop's not going to freeze again. Now we're going to open up Tabletop Simulator. Actually, I just realized there's a lot of this I don't have ready yet. But we'll start with some Tabletop Simulator importing, just to show how that looks. First thing I need to do, though, is create the deck file. First time I've opened the deck editor, so it's just asking to associate itself with the file type that it creates whenever you're saving a deck. Now, looking at the cards that we put together, we have 23 cards and a back image. So 24 individual files. In the deck editor, you click New Deck. 24 would work best. Probably is a 6x4. So we'll do 6 cards wide, 4 cards high. We'll take all of our cards and drag them in. And there we go, there's our deck. And we'll put the back as the last one. Tabletop Simulator normally treats the last card in a deck file as the hidden card. So whenever it's in a hand zone, it will use that image to hide whatever's being held from anybody that's not you. Now, the nice thing is we can rearrange this a little by just dragging them around. So since we have blue, purple, just make it match the dance mode here. Pink, green, orange, and yellow. There we go. Another thing to remember about the deck editor, if you drag in exactly as many cards as your grid will hold, it will try to create a new deck using the one last card because of that treating it as the hidden card. It assumes that you don't want that last file to be the hidden card and tries to create a new deck using whatever it is your last card is going to be as a front image. So always, if you have as many cards as you do your grid, always drag in one less to start with and then just drag that last card in to put there. Now, you don't have to have this be the hidden card. You can have it be a front-facing part of the card. And there is an option in Tabletop Simulator to allow for that, and I'll show that here in a moment. But essentially, this is how you put a deck together. You just figure out the best sized grid for it. You have a maximum of 10x7, and you put your cards in here in the order you want them to be in. File, export. Oh my god, I am so sorry. I just inhaled a bug out of nowhere. Friggin' gnat. Oh my goodness. Okay, so these export options... That was random. Okay, these export options I usually don't deal with, but it will show you the file's dimensions based on your DPI. You can choose to automatically upload it to Imager or whatnot. Dropbox, Google Drive, Cube. I don't use any of these because I have my own web space, but Imager is a valid source to upload to. I have stopped using Steam Cloud because it dropped like half of my files out of nowhere, and I had to fix so many broken mods. So I don't do Steam Cloud anymore because I don't trust it anymore. But Imager's valid. Dropbox and Google Drive I've seen some people use. I personally have my own server that I upload to. But you want to export this to... Actually, this is a single deck file. I don't think it needs its own folder. I usually save as JPEG for the smallest possible file size. You can save as PNG if you don't mind a larger file size and you want no artifacting, because JPEG will compress an artifact, but for most of these things it's barely noticeable, or it just doesn't matter. But if you want something that's lossless, PNG is an option there. But I'm gonna call this Candy Land deck. And that's all we need out of the deck editor. This deck editor is included with Tabletop Simulator. I don't feel like saving change. If you decide to save it, it will save it as a deck file, which is that T something or other extension that it has to associate with. I've never really had the need for that, but if you have a deck for a game that you're trying to make and you're constantly making changes and stuff like that, the feature is there. So... yeah, so I don't need to save this. But the deck editor is located in the Program Files, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Tabletop Simulator, Modding, Deck Builder folder. They also have templates, dice templates, loot template, which is a lighting thing I've never messed with. Yeah, the dice templates, you got D4 all the way to D20. If you use a custom dice that is built into Tabletop Simulator, this is where those dice are going to look for the faces. Once you have your faces set, you can get rid of the template part, so it doesn't have all these lines and seams and all that. Completely up to you, but deck template kind of shows like square card template, regular card template, and these are the maximum 70 cards. I've never used them. You can use them for reference, but I've never used them. So our cards are ready. Our PDF is ready. To make a new mod, just go to Create, Single Player. Unless you have friends that want to watch you build the mod while you're sitting there. And then usually I'll just close this out because it will put a table in. I think it chooses it randomly, but it will put a table in. If you go to Objects and Tables, you do have a choice of what you want to use. Custom Rectangle and Square allow you to upload your own image for the mat or felt. Sometimes that works great. I've used it for just custom felts depending on the game, or I've even used it as a board for one game just because it made it easier to work with. I'm sorry, excuse me. That bug that I swallowed did not want to cooperate. Okay, so let's put in the components that we have already. So you'll go to Objects, Components, and then Custom. In this case, we're going to start with a deck. So you'll click where you want it. You can make more than one and it'll allow you to set them up in sequence. But once you're done creating, you'll just right click and it'll bring you back here. We're doing rectangular cards with rounded corners. We're going to choose our face file, which... oh, this is my Darksider stuff. That's not where I need to be. There we go. I'll do local for now, because otherwise it's going to upload to Steam Cloud. I don't want to do that. Okay, so unique backs allows you to create another deck file for if each card has a different type of back. That's useful for double-sided cards or cards that have different styles of backing to them, but double-sided cards are the usual use for that. The back file, which I'm actually going to copy this and put it here in the base level of the mod. Really, I don't need this anymore. Now our grid is, I do 6 by 4, and we are using 23 cards because we're not making a card out of that back one. If your deck is horizontally oriented, you can do sideways cards. If you're using unique backs or using every space of the grid for a front, you can do back as hidden, so it sets this file as the hidden. And then just import. And there we have our deck. Okay, so that yellow is pretty visible. That's good. I was worried the lighting would flush that out. Let's just make sure everything looks good. Purple's a little washed out, but... And zooming looks good. And yeah, you can kind of see some artifacting, but it kind of gives the cards a bit of texture. I like that too, because they look a little more like the actual cards that way. Sweet treats. Yep. Everything's here. Now, I only did one copy of each card. What I'm going to do, which I would need to pull out his game and count to make absolutely certain I remember how many there are of each, but basically I'll be copying this portion of the deck into the number of quantity that I need and then just restacking it. Then we'll move on to, no, not games, objects, components, custom PDF. And again, you'll click where you want it and then right click to stop adding, bring this up to PDF we made. Page offset is if you want it to start on a different page when it loads, otherwise it's going to start on the cover. It's 0 indexed, so 0 is the very first page. Import that. There we have that. Now this one we're going to scale up with the plus key because it's going to need to be legible. Yeah, we've got PDF. You can use the controls here to scroll through. Ooh, 44 cards. That might tell me exactly what I need. That's 11. Oh, screwed that up. Oh, hold on. 3 copies of each? Nope. Might be 2 copies of the sweet treat cards. Okay, I have royally screwed this up. You know what? We're just going to re-import that. Maintains the settings from the last time it created a deck, so that's helpful. And now I'm going to leave it alone until I can figure that out. Okay, so there's our cards and our rule book. The other thing that I have prepared is the game board. Put that in the mod. I usually put that at the base level of the mod as well, because 9 times out of 10 there's only one. Oh yeah, colors are really washed out, so we're going to mess with the lighting, but that doesn't look half bad. Might increase the size of the cards here. Objects. No, that's not where lighting is now. Options. There we go. Lighting. I don't like messing with this. I usually start with the background. So, objects, backgrounds, and the one I like to use the most is usually museum. Yes, that's much better. Much better. Less washed out, very clear. Absolutely. Okay, perfect. Look, it even maintained that little crease there. Okay, and the boards are usually locked, so you can use L to unlock them and put them where you need them. I'm going to use the move tool here to center this at the middle of the table. Now, X and Z are the dimensions for left and right and up and down like this. Y is actually the depth. So, I don't entirely understand why, but that's just good reference. Lock the board in place. PDF looks good. Cards we will get in a minute. You know what? No. I want to figure the cards out. So we got 7, 8, 11, 12. Okay, so there's 11 over here. 12 over here. If I do 24, I'm positive there's 2 copies. I might run downstairs and just go get his game real quick. Because there's only 5 of these. It'll be 34. 40. Where are the other cards? Okay, this is just going to have to go ahead and drive me nuts for a minute. We're going to move on to the next thing. Group those back together. I'll figure it out. I know there's only 5 of these. Positive of that. There's 2 copies of these. Each. Would be 2 of those? 12 and 24 would make 36, plus 5 is 41, so there's 3 not accounted for. 16 and 24, 42. I don't know. We'll figure it out. That's another thing, is I usually have the decks with me so that I can make sure I make copies accordingly. But these are the basic assets that were quick to put together. One thing about the board, I scanned this as 4 individual pieces, and then I used Photoshop's photo merge feature to stitch together the left side and then the right side, because the middle crease of the board is literally a split. So there's nothing to actually merge there. What it does is it'll merge like the overflow of the scan from this side and realize, hey, these 2 pieces fit together like this, and same over here. And then I just kind of line them up as best I can like this, and it looks pretty good. Some boards are really hard to do that with. This one worked out pretty well. So next is something I think is really fun. Blender. Now, if I wanted to, I could have taken the standees and cut them out with a transparent background and imported them with Tabletop Simulator with their preset standee creation. But to kind of show how that would work, yeah, figure. They do front image and back image on these now. And if you only set one image, it'll just be the same on both sides. But scaling applied to card only, not to base. That's new. I've never messed with that. Let's see what 3 does. Oh. Oh. Well, that's kind of nice. But picture this being transparent, and it just kind of creates this flat image that if you look at it just right, it will actually disappear. Cool, I got it. I don't like that. It doesn't feel like a board game to me that way. It doesn't feel chunky. It doesn't feel proper. So that's why I have developed a method. And by developed a method, I mean this is nothing special, of making standees in Blender. So to start off, this is my starting layout for Blender. I've got the top ortho view in the 3D viewport. I've got the UV map view over here. And then I'll just come down to add an image to background images. Well, let's see, I'll start in the Darksiders folder and go Bluey Mod Standees. Starting with our boy Bandit. Now, because Tabletop Simulator doesn't like overly complicated models, if there's a lot of triangles to it, it will bog things down. These don't have to be perfect for what I'm about to do. And frankly, I'm not going to make it perfect. But I will usually start with this, and then we'll create a plane. Press Tab to edit it. And then I'm going to delete 2 of these vertices. Now these 2, we're going to bring down here to about where the bottom of the standee would be if you punched it out of the cardboard. I'm going to scale it outwards as far as it is before it starts curving. Then we're going to pick 1. And we're going to start extruding. I'm just pressing E every time I want to extrude. When I need a straight edge, before clicking to accept the new point, you can click the axis that you want to snap to, in this, or press the key for the axis. In this case, I pressed Y. For these ones that are just kind of slightly angled and all that, it's really not a big deal. Now these curves that I'm doing, I might be keeping them kind of detailed with how small they are, but it's not enough to bog things down. I mean, you can really add as many points to this to make it as smooth looking as you want. Right click cancels if you don't decide on it. That's always nice. Yeah, then I'll just trim out, or not trim out, but trace out the standee. Yeah, that works. Good, Bandito. And this doesn't have to be like perfect either. It's like if I get a little over these lines, it's not a big deal because as long as we get the basic shape that we need, the UV mapping will be able to fix anything we don't like about that. Really interesting shape here, Bandit. Get some longer points here to finish this up. Okay, so what did I do over there? I did 2 in that curve. Okay, now here's where things get a little interesting. Extrude this out to wherever the heck you want it to. Hold Shift, click the next one, Alt M, merge at last. The last one you clicked. Ding. There we have a proper loop traced out. Now use A and then A to select all of them and fill by pressing F. And now we have a 2D plane shaped like Bandit. And then from the UV mapping, we'll immediately open image and choose Bandit. So now this is going to be looking at this file for what it should look like. Now, since I haven't done anything yet, it looks kind of like that. But what I'm going to do now, pressing space, unwrap, and that will 9 times out of 10 bring the shape to what it needs to be. I've had some issues with certain ones that it'll jam a bunch of points together for some reason. I haven't figured out why it does that. I usually end up manually reshaping. We might run into it tonight. I don't know. But then you just A to select all. Your mouse will react. Your choices will react to wherever your mouse is. So I haven't clicked a thing. If I press A over here, it deselects and reselects. Haven't clicked a thing. Only works over here. So it depends on where your mouse is, where the focus is. Now, we just need to press R to rotate this. Try to get it as straight as possible. G, you drag it around. S, scale. And you see this is where it doesn't have to be perfect. Because you can scale it to about where you want it. You can adjust it to be a little less if you don't want to be that close to the seams, depending on how it looks. And now, our 2D plane looks like Bandit. What I usually do from here is I will then extrude by pressing E. Then I'll press Z twice to lock in the Z. So it only extrudes like that. And then I'll just type in like 0.2. Well, maybe we'll do 0.4. Give it a little thicker there. Yeah. Now, as you can see, it's provided some thickness now. But this makes it to where the face on the front and the face on the back will maintain their image. You map it first before you extrude it to being 3D. And that keeps both the front and back to the same image. That was a shortcut I found ages ago, and it has saved me so much time. Now, I'll do selecting everything. Come down here and choose to select faces. Hold Shift and deselect the front and back face, and now I'm left with just the cardboard, air quotes, of what this is. And for this, what I like to do is I like to not unwrap this part, and I will scale it down, so it fits somewhere where it gets some texture and color from just somewhere on here. Let's see, if I stop editing this side, you can see how it now kind of looks like it's still a bit like stretch pixels and all that, but it looks like it's part of it. Gives it kind of a, hey, this is the color of the cardboard feel to it. Okay, so we'll select every face now by pressing A twice. I am so sorry about that. I did not swallow another bug, but it's still kind of irritating my throat, the one that I did. Good Lord, I hate that. Okay, so now I will use... You can use shortcuts. I like to use the shortcuts. But if you just want to search for it, you can press space, type in normals, make normals consistent. The shortcut is Control N. you'll see that it's processing that here, and you can choose inside if you need to. I don't think you would. But what this does, if you scroll down in the properties over here and turn on the normals for faces, anywhere you see a line sticking out, that means that that face is going to be visible from that side. So if the line is sticking out, you can see it from the direction you're looking at right now. Tabletop Simulator requires this because if the normals are facing the other way, it's going to assume you can't see that face. So normals essentially say, hey, my eyes can see this side of it. And then the next one, triangulate faces, Control T. Tabletop Simulator works with polygons, triangles. A complicated shape will not show up. It'll be invisible. So if I were to import this right now, if I like this, it would only show the sides because those are the simple shape of squares, and Tabletop Simulator can interpret rectangles, not squares. It can interpret rectangles, but it would not be able to interpret this face. So that's why with Control T or searching for triangulate faces, you make triangles. The more complicated your shape, the more triangles are going to be made. But honestly, this is not that bad for Tabletop Simulator. This is pretty reasonable. That's how you prepare that. The last thing I like to do when editing is make sure that the median of the entirety of the thing is on 0, 0, 0. And then I'll stop editing and I'll rotate this on the X 90 degrees. Now he's standing up. Oh, where'd you go? Bandit, why did you jump all the way up there? Okay, so now here is the next part. The plastic holder thing. So here's how I'm going to do this. We're going to start with hiding Bandit here for now. Actually, hold on. Alt-H will unhide everything that you've hidden. Let's take a look. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide. Okay. Just trying to make sure I know what I'm working with here. So we'll create a circle. I don't think we need 32 vertices to it. Let's reduce that down to 16. Yeah, that's reasonable enough. That's very reasonable. Okay. So now, Bandit was what, 6 wide? So we'll scale this 3 times. Yeah, I just hit S to start the scaling and then just hit 3. Since I didn't specify an axis, it's going to apply it to everything. And then just hit enter. Now if we unhide Bandit, we'll see that that now matches the entirety of his base, which I measured this, not in exact units, but I took a look at this, and the base is as wide as Bandit. The middle part that actually holds the standee is as wide as everybody else. So that was kind of interesting. Alright, Bandit, go away for a minute. We're going to edit this. And we're going to fill it with F. Extrude it on Z. I'd say 0.3 looks pretty good there. To give it a little bit of interesting look, we're going to scale. Well, hold on. I didn't save my extrude there. Extrude Z 0.3. Now we're going to scale that face inward just a little so that it gives kind of a lip look. Yeah, I like that. Now the part in the middle, that, while editing, we're going to create another circle. Move it up here so I can see it. Scale it 1.5. Edit at the vertices. I'll select half of it here. Get rid of them. Extrude this one and merge it at last. No, we don't want to select everything. I'll select that. I used L to select just that and everything that's connected to it. We're gonna fill it. Then we're going to extrude it on the Z. Now, Bandit was extruded at 0.3. We're gonna extrude this to 0.5, and I'll show you why here in a little bit. Maybe 0.6. Oh. Hitting things without doing it properly. Okay, extrude. Z. 0.6. Yeah, we'll work with that. Okay, so now we're going to select all. Rotate on the X 90 degrees. I'll bring you back to 0, 0, 0. I'll pull you up. Select everything. Control N for our normals. Control T for our triangles. And we're going to tell it to look at the bandit image. Now, the nice thing about what I'm about to do, that's all the more you need to do besides put this triangle, which is a literal stack of every triangle over here. Just hit A to select all, scale it down, move it to the white space, and I'll show you why once we get this into Tabletop Simulator. So without editing anymore, we'll unhide Bandit, and now you can see that because of the overlap, it looks like it's holding him as a clip. I'm glad I made that a little bit bigger. Yeah. I'm trying to decide if I want that a little thicker. Yeah, I think that looks good. That looks like a standee clip. Okay. So, here's Bandit. What I'm about to do is a trick for what I like to do in Tabletop Simulator. One thing that Tabletop Simulator does is it allows you to apply tint to things. So, we'll just pull in blocks here. Red square. If you right click them, color tint, you can make them whatever color you want. For a custom model, the last thing that was imported into it, or created in this case, is what it will apply that tint to. But here's what I'm about to do. We're actually going to, bear with me on this, delete Bandit, and we're going to export a wavefront OBJ, an object file. We're going to come to our Bluey Standees folder. We're going to name this Standee Base. Then we're going to just Control Z to bring Bandit back. delete the base. And then we're going to import it from the OBJ file. And that's it. And we export this one as Standy Bandit. And now we can come over to Tabletop Simulator. Let's get rid of our cubes, objects, components, custom, model. The mesh is going to be our Standy Bandit OBJ that we just made. The image is going to be Bandit there. Don't need a bump map, don't need a collider. Figurine, so it's always straightened up when you pick it up. I like to use the cardboard material because it preserves the most integrity of the image. All these are fine. Cast shadows if you want them. Import. The boy is big. It's very big. He can be scaled down. Now, one thing, the shading on this looks a bit terrible. I usually have to experiment with this, so we'll come into this. We'll edit and come over to the shading tab. Flat, sharp, sharp, across the board. And then we will re-export the OBJ. Now, another trick. If you go to the menu, configuration, mod threading, turning this off. Wait, no, it's not mod threading, it's mod caching. I already have this off. So mod caching is when you download files from whatever you're loading, it will save a copy to your local machine so that it will load faster next time you pull it up. I choose not to use this when I'm editing for what I'm about to show you. So with the bad shading here, we're going to go to games, save and load. Save game, put it in the root folder, that's fine. Bluey Candy Land. Save. Now that's been saved, and we have some auto saves. I'm going to pull up just anything else, really. We'll go with something classic so it doesn't take long to load. We'll just do cards. Okay. Now we go back to games, and we load the save that we just made. Because mod caching is off, it now just loaded the latest version of this model. If mod caching was on, it would have loaded the one that it saved a copy of. That did not fix the shading. Well, I might just leave it. Sometimes this stuff's difficult with that. But you can see how our standee portion looks nice and cardboardy. I'm going to give him a blue color tint, a little bit more towards his, and boom. Tintable base. Let's say you're the purple player, but you wanted to be Bandit. Boom. Tinted purple. Yeah, I'll try to make that look a bit better. So, this doesn't look great. I've had mixed results in various ways with this. But essentially, that's how you make a tintable base, is you make sure that it's the last thing imported into the model. Now, Bandit, we are going to scale you down. Using the minus key, that's as small as you go. Actually, that might be perfect. That's still a little bit big, actually. Okay, so scale you back up to... Let's do 1. Try smooth across the board here and see if that helps anything. Then select everything. Bring it back down to the base here. Re-export. Now I do that because if it was still up in space there, that's where it would start when it's loaded. So it would fall every time it's loaded in Tabletop Simulator. And it would just look silly. So since this has already been saved with a Bandit standee, we can go ahead and just do the same thing here. We'll pick a classic, so go. And then reload our Bluey. There we go, and hey, that base looks a lot better. That I'm happy with. Okay. Yes. Okay. So yeah. Sometimes flat looks better, sometimes smooth looks better, you just gotta play with it. Same goes for the cardboard portion, but this looks like a cardboard standee. This has some chunk to it. This has some heft. This is what I like to do for my mods because it just looks better. Now, let's scale you down. So that's as small as you go. How big is that? 5.5. Too big. Sometimes you just gotta play with this. Now I could scale him down here, and that'd be fine. The reason I didn't do that yet is to try and create some consistency with the thickness of the actual standees, and I'll show you why once we make another one. Because I've only recently been playing around with this idea. But, yeah, there's Bandit. Look at him go. That actually looks perfect. Fits in the spaces just fine. I like it. I love it. Bandit. So yeah, there's that. That is how I make a faux cardboard standee. Now I'll just reload the startup file. Do it again. Set a new background image. Looks like we're doing bingo next. Create our plane. Bring this down to the bottom of her standee. Again, these never have to be perfect. I just have a bad habit of perfectionism. I was going a little bit slow on Bandit to showcase what I was doing. This one I'm going to go a little bit faster. The fact that I just made a V there might showcase some of the texture mapping issues that I was talking about. We shall see. Yeah, doing standees like this really doesn't take that long. Especially since we made the base, saved it as its own separate thing. Merge at last. Fill. Wrap. Okay, looks like this unwrapped cleanly. That's good. Yeah, I'm not seeing any distortion over it. That's good. What did I say? 0.3? Yeah. I said, okay. The fact that she's orange makes this a little bit difficult. That looks pretty good. Yeah, it's like... There we go. Control N for normals, Control T. What's going on here? Control N for normals. Control T. There we go. There we go. Fixed her. Rotate X 90, and now we import our base. He ended up kind of big. Okay. Fix this. Because, yeah, she's not supposed to be that big. It's supposed to be, well, a little bit bigger than this, because I made this kind of small compared to the actual piece. Okay, so need to lock the Y. Oh, that's not. It's not it. Z? Yeah, there we go. That'll keep her the same thickness. That actually looks pretty good. I like that. Okay. Yep, that looks right. Now we need to scale, unlock scale first off. Scale everything down 5. Bring that down close to the bottom. Okay. Almost forgot a step. For the new base, to set the image, match the model. Yeah, because see, it would have looked like that if I had imported it as is. Now we select all of our base triangles, place them somewhere. All white. And need to set our shading on that to smooth because I forgot to save the file with that. Standee. Bingo. Now here's what's fun. We can just copy that. Rename it Bingo. Come to custom. Use our bingo with the bingo image. And do not update the existing. And we have bingo, and actually that sizing looks perfect. Yes, okay. Change your base to orange, sweetheart, and there we go. Now, honestly, I will just repeat this process for all the other standees. So, yeah. That is a bit of insight into how I make my Tabletop Simulator mods. I'll get these cards fixed and this and all that. The only other things I do is once the mod is actually ready and constructed in full, pull this over here. So like once all the files are in place, so like the standees, get rid of these MTL files because they're not necessary. But when you export from Blender for an OBJ, it creates those. But once we have all these in place, I'm going to be doing the same thing for the custom tokens, minus the standee portion, but I'll be creating custom shapes for them. I would just then upload this mod folder to a web space. In my case, it would be my personal server. Then I would go through, depending on the size of the mod, I will actually edit the JSON file of the mod. Now that's a bit of a more complicated step. I may do that in a future video or stream or whatever. But this is essentially how things are done. Once the files are uploaded, you just point everything to where they are online, and that's that. Go to modding, workshop, upload. Any local files it'll warn you about. Everything has to be an online file for it to upload to the workshop. Give it a title, description, set a thumbnail. You can work on adding tags and information. But that's it. I mean, that's Tabletop Simulator modding in a nutshell, with some of my methods on what I do for card editing, PDF construction, and the big one is the standees. These look fantastic. I love this. I'm actually pretty proud of myself for these ones. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night there. Probably finish making these standees here in a little bit and get these cards fixed. But if I decide to upload this one, I will post about it on my Blue Sky. And if you are interested in checking out my actual video gaming stream, that is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, and I'm currently playing Donkey Kong Country, playing through the Super Nintendo trilogy. Actually, I'm going to be playing through the entire series as a series crawl, but right now we're still on the first Donkey Kong Country, so that's what I'm currently doing. If you're interested in any other mods I've put together, my name on Steam is Marcus Raven. You can find them in the Tabletop Simulator Workshop, and everything that I've done that is publicly available includes real games, custom skins for other games. I did a Mega Man theme. You know what? Let me just showcase some of these real quick. Save that so I don't lose it. for the workshop. I didn't think I could search by my name. Okay. One of the big things is I've done a lot of Mega Man stuff. I've done Mega Man the board game. This is a real conversion of the game using my personal scans and a lot of other stuff. This one takes a moment to load. Not too bad. So it is currently set up using the Time Man and Oil Man expansion. I have custom figures using the Mega Man powered up models, which are awesome. Up to and including Dr. Wily. I've got enemy models to go with their information tiles here. Got the optional Yellow Devil mini boss. Custom dice. If you're interested in playing as an enemy or wanting to decide who to go up against or who to even put in the game, got a nice little D8 for that. Got a deck with... Oh, nope. Screwed that up. Screwed that up. Okay, so for the cards, you have to actually go in here and choose the state. But each state is a different card backing to represent the various sleeves that are available in real life. Fairly proud of myself for that one. You've got all your playable characters here, your main ones in the front row here of Mega Man, Proto Man, Rush, Roll, Dr. Light. Playable versions of the Robot Masters, which include happier faces. They're not angry. Got the happy eyes. Smiles. That's cool. There's alternate versions of Mega Man back here with slightly different stats and slightly different poses. Gotta make sure I got these right. This posing stuff was not easy. One of the things I'm super proud of on this, every single figure has a gold variant. Because gold figures were available for the physical game, not for everybody, but I went ahead and did it for everybody. Oil Man has his Japanese colors. A version where he has his regular and Japanese colors with his scarf covering his face, like in the official comic artwork. Gold version based on the US and Japanese colors, also with face cover. Very happy about that. These are the boss cards, which also have the various backings, but these allow you to create custom decks. I made a mod for deck building so that you can make a deck in that and then copy it into this real easy. Rulebook is one of my PDF scans. Got the boxes if you want to store extra pieces in them. And then one of the best parts is the life dial. You can use the up and down keys to adjust the player and boss healths. They do not go any higher than 28 because they don't in the actual game. They do not count any lower than 0. So that's been a scripting thing that I've done in several of my mods that use health dials. But some other Mega Man things I've done a Mega Man Monopoly, Mega Man Clue, Mega Man Uno is not mine, I don't think. No, that's not mine. That's not mine. Never mind. But I did the Mega Man Clue and the Mega Man Monopoly. Made some Mega Man playing cards. Let's see, what else? Oh, I did a Splendor. So we actually have Mega Man Splendor. This is based on the Marvel version of Splendor, where you have to collect a green chip by buying a level 3 card. So we've got the various additional things here. Whoa, why did that throw? I don't know. Yeah, nothing on the other sides of those, but these can be chosen differently. And then I meticulously went through and created each of these cards with name, serial number, game they're from, the gem that they use, the cost that they have. This was not easy. These are 1-to-1 to the Marvel cards. So there's no variance to the rules. It plays exactly the same. I even made custom PDF for the rulebook. Like, I actually made a rulebook. Excuse me. So that's something. So yeah, if you like Splendor and you like the Marvel version of it, here's a Mega Man theme of it. One of my other really good mods. This one mine? Yes, this one's mine. Sometimes I have mods from other people to compare. All the scans are mine. All the files are hosted on my web space. All the custom models and all that. Stuffed Fables is another one that I think is fairly impressive, because it's got the storybook with the board that you play on. Stuffy characters with a standee you can use, or a chip, complete with knocked outside. The standees are a sticker frame that I put together. So that is a custom model of mine. This is not mine, because I did not script these things. This is based on mine, because this is my PDF structure. Okay. Yeah, so if you want to load up a certain chapter, you click a button. Yeah, this is hosted on my web space. I don't know what this is about. Yeah, everything else here looks like it's based on my stuff. Yeah, because it's all... Okay, well, all those things are mine, so somebody else just constructed it on this table, and yeah, we got enemies here, and they added some scripted management stuff. Not entirely sure how that works. A little embarrassing that I pulled up one that's not mine. But another one of my big ones, Blast Tactics. This is formerly the Bomberman board game, which was unfortunately canceled. But the creator allowed me to assist with preserving it. There is a version of this that uses the Bomberman-based assets. I believe I took it off my public profile, but later on down the road, he created this version, which is unbranded, and I've assisted with putting this in using my custom standee process. I actually modeled this, the little 3D robots, based on the artwork. Nothing special about them, except that they allow for color tinting. I thought that was just kind of neat. But yeah, I made the models. Everything else belongs to the creator of the game. This one is currently based on the print-on-demand version. It is coming to Kickstarter soon. So there are updates that will be taking place that you'll want to keep an eye out for. Keep an eye on my Blue Sky for that, and I repost the creator, John McDonald, a lot. So definitely give him a follow. But things are going to be happening soon, so keep an eye out. But that was just some of my mods I wanted to showcase. I will possibly do other streams of this because I am working on several tabletop projects personally, and it's just kind of fun to showcase what I do. But my official video game stream is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Any streams like this will probably be randomly announced on Blue Sky, so keep an eye there. It's just Marcus Raven, and really got nothing else left to say. So if anybody was out there watching, thank you for stopping by, and I will see you next game. Goodbye.